Right then, welcome back. We are going to be continuing doing the past papers and we are going to do the June 2015 paper now. This is paper 1 and the question I've chosen to do is number 26. There are several parts of it, but most of them are quite easy. The first part, however, carries 2 marks and it gives you a sequence and asks you to find the nth term of the sequence, which means the underlying pattern that defines the sequence. Now we're going to be doing another heuristic, and you are going to encounter such questions very frequently in which a larger number is given, and in subsequent indices as the sequence moves forward, the number decreases by a certain amount. So a new heuristic is needed to solve these problems. Notice that the next term can be obtained by simply subtracting 6 from it. But our task is to find the value of the sequence in terms of its corresponding indice. So 89 has to be related to 1, 83 has to be related to 2, 77 to 3 and so on. This is our task. Now, notice that 89 can be written as 90 minus 1. This is the most obvious relationship between the sequence and the indice. The second one can be written as 90 minus 6 minus 1. Here the new term is 6. The third one is 90 minus 12 minus 1. And the fourth one, 90 minus 18 minus 1. Now again we are faced with a sequence within a sequence. Fortunately this sequence is very easy to decipher. You simply have to link the underlying numbers with their relative index. For example, 6 is going to relate with 2, 12 with 3 and 18 with 4. Now what is common in all of these? Remember that these are all multiples of 6. However, notice that in the case of the index 2, the number 6 is multiplied not by 2 but by 1. And in the case of index 3, 12 is basically 6 multiplied by 2, not 3. And in the case of index number 4, 18 is 6 multiplied by 3. So this is basically 6 into n minus 1. Yes? So we have solved the riddle. Now let's write the complete nth term. We have to simplify this. And the answer comes out to be 95 minus 6n. So in this technique, you had to find the pattern based on how much each term was reduced every time the sequence moved forward. Even though minus 6 is a very satisfactory observation, it doesn't help us much unless we realize that every time it's a multiple of 6 rather than simply minus 6 being subtracted. That helps us in finding a pattern between the sequence and the index. Now you obviously have to check this. Let's put in n is equal to 2 and 3. And here we are, we have the correct pattern. Now to get more practice, let's do another one. The next question is from June 2014 and this time it's the paper 2, question number 6. The index and the sequence is mentioned. Here again notice that the sequence is decreasing as it moves forward. So we're going to apply the same heuristic as before. We're going to write 17 as 18 minus 1. And also the difference is 6 between the two terms. So we are going to employ the same pattern as before. And it comes out to be 23 minus 6n. Let's finish this video by doing one last paper that is going to refer to the original heuristic that we did before. This is June 2009, paper 2, question number 6, part B. You're given this sequence 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11 and you're asked to find the pattern. Again, as I advised you, you should do multiplications in your head to see if a pattern emerges. If you notice that if you multiply n by 2 every time and add 1 every time, you get the sequence. So our answer is going to be 2n plus 1. After that, they give you another sequence. Here, notice that if you multiply n by the next n, for example, if you multiply 2 by 3, you get the sequence value for n is equal to 2. Yes? Now, we move on to the third sequence that we are asked to find the pattern of, 4, 12, 24, 40, 60. Now notice that this sequence is exactly the double of the previous sequence. You multiply the previous sequence by 2, you get this sequence. So the answer should be 2n into n plus 1. However, let's try and derive this pattern on its own. Notice that every number in the sequence can be represented using the index that corresponds to it. Difficult questions, you should first look at these patterns that directly incorporate the index with the sequence. Now, on our hand are different numbers now, which should be related to the sequence for our assumption to be correct that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 can be incorporated into the pattern. Now notice that these numbers 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12 can also be written using the index that represents them. You simply have to multiply the index with 2 and add 2 to it. Yes? So this makes our task very easy. We can find the pattern. What here corresponds to n. This is exactly the index number. What here corresponds to 2n plus 2, and they have to be multiplied together for us to get the pattern of the sequence. The answer is the same as before. So this is it from this lecture. Hope you've understood this problem solving technique. If you practice these questions more, you're simply going to breeze through these questions during the examination, and it'll be job well done for us. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the comment section. I'll be very happy to reply. There are other portions of the O-Levels Mathematics course whose difficult questions I have solved in the videos. You can take a look at them. That's all from me now. Thank you for watching and take care.